Now I will request Mr. Das, CIC Assam, to give his presentation.
Honorable Chairperson of this session, my fellow panelists, CICs, ICs and distinguished participants here. As my preceding speaker has already said, most of the points about the RTA Act, different sections, various difficulties have already been discussed over the yesterday and also today. So I would not like to repeat those things, it will be merely repetition. But since this session is on state experiences, I would like to confine myself to few grassroots level state experiences, particularly with reference to my state. First of all, I would like to say that before the RTA Act 2005, Assam government on its own introduced one Right to Information Act in 2002. And before the rules could be formulated and could be really implemented, this RTA Act 2005 came, and it was introduced in Assam, came into effect from 1st of March 2006. Now, I took the statistics about what is the impact of implementation of RTI in Assam and the northeastern region. I've read in the newspaper a couple of days back that since inception in the country, about 40 to 45 million RT applications have been received. Now in Assam, since inception, 1,39,394 RT applications were received. And I found that it amounts to 0.3% of the national average. Now if you ask me, Assam with a population of 3.2 crore today, it roughly comes to about national population, 3% population live in Assam. But the RTA applications filed amounts to 0.3%. That means application of RTI, or use of RTI in Assam is about 1/10 of the national average. So that I will say that really intuition or penetration of RTI is still long way from the national average. This is one area I thought I've also apprised recently had a conference in Guwahati, the Chief Minister was also present. I briefed him about this. RTA is still not being used by people at large to use it for the purpose for which it was drafted. But our general experience, although the number is low, but our general experience is that the kind of questions that are being asked, the kind of information that is being sought, I think it's quite encouraging, and more so because it's very interesting thing is that when I saw that rural-urban divide, we found that about more than 50% of the RT applications are from rural areas. I think it's a very good sign. And if you look at the class, what that percentage of, roughly, we have not done any census about that. But general impression, after being there in the RT for the last about 1 year, I found that there is hardly any questions asked by the members of the upper strata of society, and practically nil by the elite section of society. Middle class, upper middle class some, but mostly I find that RTA applications are filed by people at the lower strata of society, are mostly from rural areas. And another interesting factor I found was that many of the applications, quite a substantial number, are from the minority communities. If you look at the Assam, like Western Assam, dominated mostly by the minority. And I find a large number of questions, and not on matters relating to the community, but on general issues, like say, PDS, public panchayat, rural development, health, power. So I think it's a very encouraging thing that RTA being used more by the common man. And there we found, this has already been mentioned, but I would also like to mention that the use of Section 4 is abysmally poor. Practically there is, if you go into the websites of various state government departments, the state government website itself, Section 4 corrective disclosure, the status is very poor. And that is one area we'll need to, I'll come back to that again. And the question, RT applications, if you look at what are the type of RT applications, as already mentioned, about 15 to 20% they relate to public grievances. People they ask, they have some problems and grievance, they come by the RTA route, and not that we cannot help even though they are grievances, but the other alternative, going to the judiciary or going back to the government offices where they have been repaired. I mean, the very purpose of the RTA Act, as you have said, is in the preamble. So we have been taking a very liberal view and where we can help. And ultimately, the PIOs also our own people, government functionaries, and most of us, information commissioners being past government offices. I mean, that is also an informal channel. We can coax and, we can motivate them to give the information and redress the grievances. And that is also one area, although it's not strictly the duty of a public information officer, state information commissioner, to redress public grievances, but RTA can also be used to redress many grievances which are of a very general and common nature. And nobody minds, I think it works very well. Now, if you ask me what are the, departments or what are the issues that, are pricking the minds of the common man with which they come with an RTA application. And I found that departments or the segments of government which are normally touched by the RTA applications are, say, public distribution system, very common. Then rural development, the flood damage, then Gram Panchayat level cooperative societies, because they handle in Assam, the Gram Panchayat level cooperative societies, they handle the public distribution system in rural areas. And a lot of questions come on that. Then the land records, land disputes, allotment of government contracts or supply work orders, education. And education again, mostly you will find regularization of teachers' jobs. I mean, I think it's the same thing in most of the states. The private people, they start private schools, which we call venture schools. And there's committee, the school management committee, whatever. They appoint the teachers, they are at the private level, no, they don't go through any government selection procedure, whatever. Then governments, from time to time, they say that, okay, we shall provincialize the services of those school teachers who are engaged by the private management committees. Then comes the question of some are qualified, some are not qualified. Then just before the provincialization or the government takes them over, there is a rush of, appointing fresh teachers for various considerations. Suppose 5 teachers were already working, the last moment 2 more will be added, it become 7. The government normally said that, okay, up to 60 students we shall regularize services of 3 or 4 teachers. Then 3 or 4 other teachers, they go out of the thing. Those who joined earlier, they are dropped and new ones come. And the common terminology in the state is drop teachers. And these drop teachers, they come with RTA applications. Okay, I was working before the others. How could the others come? People who joined before, after me, their services have been regularized. They become government school teachers, and I have been left out. And large number of, there's a very genuine problem. And large number of such drop teachers who should have got the job do come to RTA. And it's very simple for us that we can only ask them to disclose who selected, when the date of joining, call for the records. And in this way, I have been able to redress the grievances of many such teachers who should have got but were deprived by the system at the last minute. Another heartening feature is that in Assam, I find even the rural people are using the RT to ask questions on environmental issues. I'm getting large number of questions on poaching of the rhino, one rhino in Kaziranga, illegal felling of trees, deforestation. Operational illegal sand like you have this Mahal in the contract system, illegal quarrying. Destruction of the environment, and it's not only by environmentalists or civil society groups who are concerned, common villages. And it's happening, someone's stream has dried up, somebody has obstructed the natural stream or water body. And I think this is a very, very heartening thing, and those are mostly, I find, mostly tribal people. And this is one area, this RTA, application of RTA has given me new insight. Normally we do talk about environmental protection and things like that. We'll talk about China building, dam over the Brahmaputra River. Not a single RTA application has come on that, but hundreds of RTA applications are local environmental issues. People who, environmental degradation which directly affect the people. So this I thought is a very, very, encouraging aspect of application of RTA in the state. The next issue, again, I have already mentioned that the elite, the intelligentsia, the kind of questions that I expected information to be sought by them are not coming forth. For example, on policy issues. In Northeast, my other colleagues are here, we have this Northeast industrial policy, which is also applicable, I think, to Himachal, J&K, Uttarakhand, and few other states, under which very liberal subsidies given. And lot of misuse, allegations of gross misuse of that subsidy is very common. But we hardly ever find any RTA application on use or misuse of hundreds of crores of rupees that come from the center for implementation of the Northeast and the industrial policy, export subsidy. So I find is that among the general apathy of the intelligentsia, of the higher strata of society to use the RTI to ask, macro issues. Similarly, say for example, unemployment is a problem. For example, a lot of things have been talked about the Lucas policy, what has happened. And Northeast, whenever there is any seminar in the Minister of Donor, in the Northeastern Council, in the National Capital, Lucas policy now is a very common topic. As Northeast, good days are coming for you, Government of India is going to implement the Lucas policy. But what has really happened to that? What concrete steps have been taken? Okay, transition highway is coming. Which part of Northeast is touching or the state is touching? Transition railway is coming. What's going to be its impact? Is it the drawing board stage? Is it the implementation stage? Not a single questions on this macro issues we find coming under the RDI. So I'm making this point. Why? Because I find is that RTA is being used, although I say incidence is 1/10 of the national average, but it's being used mostly by the common man, and the issues raised by them are very genuine. It affects their daily life. It affects their it may not be, for us it may be very small and petty, but the RT applicant for him is very vital. So I think, however little, but it's being used very, to great effect by the common man. And one shortcoming, as I have already said, you can guess from the fact that the user RTA is only 10% of the national average. We find that the awareness among the people generally is still very low. So I have requested the state government to give me some money, some fund, so that we can organize awareness campaigns for the people at large. Because quite often we find it's not that they are asking vexatious litigation, vexatious RTA. Say we find sometimes people started question information A, B, C, D, E, F, they'll go up to J. After that, it's not A1, A2, A3 like that. It goes to 27, 29, 30, 40 questions in one RTA application. It is not because they intend to harass us or to harass the PIA, but because he thinks he has so many pent-up grievances perhaps. So when an RTA application like that comes covering 10 different public authorities, its response rate also gets diluted by the process. So I think we thought that we should organize awareness campaign among the people in the district level or the divisional level as to how to draft the RTA applications. And another good thing that has happened in Assam is that they call it RTA clubs. Some conscientious people, some RTA activists, they have formed clubs in different district level, block level, and those clubs are very active. Initially, when I joined, I was given some advice by somebody, look, RTA Act, it is only for citizens to ask, not for organizations like RTA clubs. RTA clubs cannot ask questions. I said, look, if somebody has given the name and the name of the organization, I think we should, if they have raised what you need to, we should accept and address it. We have been doing that. And then one last point that I would like to mention is one last but one. In the Northeast, we have to notice in J&K and some other parts of the country, we have to take into account the security environment. Already like that, we have been having the Disturbed Areas Act and the Armed Forces Special Powers Act for quite some time. I'll just give you one example. Sometimes you get RT applications, okay, give me the detailed list of fund released to various contractors or various government contractors during the month of March. It's not very common, but occasionally it has happened that some of the insurgent outfits have used such information for extortion of money. So I'm not saying that this is the general rule, but because of the, almost the law and order situation improved quite a bit, but still, it is there. Armed Forces Special Powers Act and the Disturbed Acts are still there. So one has to be a bit careful and like a bit more judicious than in other places in addressing this issue. The last point I would like to mention is that the very purpose of the RTA Act was transparency. And in the preamble also it says that one of the objectives of the RTA Act was to curb and contain corruption. Having worked in the government for the last 33 years and being in the State Information Commission for nearly a year, my personal experience, I'll say, my personal feeling is that corruption has not really declined. Just like in diseases, viral diseases, once you have an effective medicine, the virus will mutate and you have to invent a new medicine. Here in RTA also I found that the clever and the corrupt ones, they have have become more cautious to leave no trail. No trail. So I think we have to, as we go by, I think we'll have to improve. And yeah, thank you. So I think we have to improve, but as you go by, and as my colleague Mr. Jain said, that in the rules you may have to bring in some further improvements so that the implementation of the RTA can be made more effective or more practical, so that it can serve the purpose for which it was enacted. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.